Introduction to the Financial Struggle. Today, I, Jesus, come to speak with you, my dear children, about the financial struggles you face and the burdens that weigh heavily on your hearts. Financial hardship is one of the heaviest crosses that many of you bear. In these times, it is easy to feel lost, overwhelmed, and isolated. 1. Recognizing the strain of financial hardships. I see your struggles. I know the weight that finances can place upon you, affecting not only your material well-being but also your mind, heart, and spirit. Many of you feel trapped, burdened by debts, or worried about providing for your families. Financial hardship can often make you feel alone, as if you must carry this load by yourselves. 2. The promise of my comfort and presence. I tell you this, my beloved children, you are not alone. I am here with you, and I see your suffering. Just as the shepherd tends to each of his sheep, so I come close to you in these times of struggle. I am with you in every moment of worry, every sleepless night, and every fearful thought. My heart is full of compassion, and I offer you my comfort. 3. God the Father's eternal support and provision. God the Father, who knows your every need, will not abandon you. Just as He provides for the birds of the air and the flowers of the field, He has a plan for each of you. Your Father knows your needs, and He is able to meet them in His own way and time. The Father's love for you is boundless, and He watches over you always. 4. Encouragement to trust and seek God's help. Financial trials often tempt you to worry and rely solely on your own strength. However, I invite you to trust in me and lean on my strength. Your Father and I know your needs, and we are able to bear these burdens with you. Seek me in prayer and tell me of your worries. Let me carry the load alongside you. 5. Jesus' compassion for those in financial strain. I am deeply aware of the unique pain that financial hardships can bring. Money may seem like a worldly concern, but I know how deeply it affects your hearts and your daily lives. My love and compassion for you extend into every part of your life, including your finances. Trust that I understand your needs and that I want to walk with you through these trials. 6. A call to faith and assurance in God's love. Know this, my beloved children, your worth is not measured by money or possessions. You are precious to me, not because of what you have, but because of who you are. You are beloved, chosen, and valued beyond measure. In every circumstance, let your hearts find rest in this truth. God's love and my comfort are constant and unwavering. 7. Hope in God's provision and timing. Remember, God's timing is perfect. Though answers to your prayers may not come immediately, He knows what you need and when you need it. Trust in His wisdom, even when it is difficult. With every step of faith, know that your Father's hand is guiding you, and that all will be provided in His time. 8. A prayer of comfort and strength. My children, in this moment, take a deep breath and know that I am here with you. Let us pray together. Lord, I place my worries, my fears, and my burdens into your hands. I trust in your provision and your love. Strengthen my faith and help me see your guiding light. 9. Closing reassurance. As you go forward, remember that I am with you every step of the way. God the Father's love surrounds you, and I am your constant companion. Take heart, for you are not alone. With me by your side, there is no burden too great. I will lift you up and guide you through every trial. Be at peace, my children, for you are deeply loved and fully known. Part 2. Causes of financial difficulties. Analyze the subjective and objective causes of financial crises. Introduction. Understanding financial challenges. My beloved children, today I want to help you understand the reasons behind the financial challenges you face. Some struggles come from the circumstances around you, while others stem from choices you have made. Knowing the reasons will allow you to grow in wisdom, manage your resources with care, and find peace in my guidance. 1. External factors, circumstances beyond your control. Sometimes, financial hardships arise from situations beyond your control. Unexpected events such as economic downturns, job loss, or illness can create a heavy burden. These challenges can feel overwhelming, but remember, I am with you. I see these circumstances and walk with you through every storm. 2. External factor, economic instability. Economic downturns can disrupt your finances through inflation, reduced job opportunities, or changes in the global market. While these situations are beyond your control, I remind you that God's provision does not depend on earthly economies. Trust that I can sustain you even in uncertain times. 3. External factor, life's unforeseen challenges. Events such as illness, accidents, or natural disasters can strain your resources and create financial challenges. Remember that these hardships are not punishments but tests of faith, resilience, and trust. Lean on me during these times, for I am with you, ready to give you strength and wisdom to endure. 4. Internal factors, choices you make. Financial struggles can also come from choices you make, such as overspending, poor budgeting, or falling into debt. Reflect on your decisions and consider whether they align with wisdom and faith. I am here to help you see the truth and make better choices moving forward. 5. Internal factor, lack of financial planning. Failing to plan or budget effectively can lead to financial strain. Learning to manage your resources carefully is part of being a faithful steward. Remember, I am here to guide you in wisdom. By planning, you honor God and create stability for yourself and those you love. 6. Internal factor, falling into debt. Debt can become a heavy burden if not managed carefully. My children, avoid borrowing beyond your means, and remember that material things are not worth the weight of financial bondage. I invite you to seek my wisdom in managing your finances, so you may live freely without the constraints of debt. 7. Internal factor, temptation of materialism. Many financial struggles arise from the desire for more, the constant pursuit of material wealth. My children, remember that true riches are found in love, faith, and service. When you seek contentment in me rather than possessions, you free yourself from financial burdens. 8. Reflection and growth, learning from your choices. Take time to reflect on how your choices and circumstances have affected your finances. Allow my wisdom to guide you in understanding the roots of your struggles. Recognize that I do not condemn you but instead offer you my love and guidance to grow in wisdom. 9. Inviting God's wisdom into financial decisions. My children, invite me into your financial decisions. Seek my guidance before making major choices, and I will direct your steps. By aligning your decisions with faith and wisdom, you will find peace and stability. Trust that I am here to help you make choices that bring freedom rather than bondage. 10. Closing assurance, walking with Jesus through financial trials. Remember, I am with you in every trial, including financial struggles. Lean on me, and allow me to carry your burdens. When you face difficulties, know that my strength is made perfect in your weakness. Together, we will overcome, and I will provide the wisdom and peace you need. Part 3. Financial pitfalls and how to recognize them. Remind you of the pitfalls such as greed, excessive debt, and impulsive investments. Introduction. Recognizing financial pitfalls. My beloved children, I am here to guide you in understanding the financial traps that often lead to hardship. Many of these pitfalls, like greed, excessive debt, and impulsive investments, may appear harmless or tempting at first. However, they can create chains that bind your spirit and limit your freedom. Let us look deeper at these traps and learn to recognize them, so you may avoid falling into them. 1. The trap of greed. Greed is the desire for more than what is necessary or wise. When driven by greed, you may seek material wealth above all else, placing your trust in possessions rather than in me. Greed blinds you, making you believe that happiness lies in more wealth, but it only leads to emptiness. Example of greed. Consider the rich man who stored up wealth but failed to find true joy and purpose. His life was consumed by possessions, but his soul remained empty. True fulfillment comes from love, generosity, and faith, not from accumulating wealth. 2. The trap of excessive debt. Debt can provide temporary solutions, but excessive borrowing leads to heavy burdens. Debt makes you a slave to repayment and takes away the peace I desire for you. My children, be cautious about borrowing beyond your means. Debt can become a prison, chaining you to worry and limiting your freedom. Example of excessive debt. Imagine a person who constantly borrows to maintain a lifestyle or satisfy desires. Over time, debt grows, interest accumulates, and soon, they are overwhelmed by repayments. Instead of enjoying peace, they are bound by the weight of financial obligations. 3. The trap of impulsive investing. Investing can be wise, but impulsive investing without thought or discernment leads to loss. Quick, high return schemes often bring disappointment. Seek my guidance before committing resources. True wisdom requires patience, research, and prayer. Example of impulsive investing. A person sees an opportunity promising quick wealth and invests without researching. Soon, they discover the risk and regret their decision. True security comes from faith and careful stewardship, not from chasing fast profits. 4. Recognizing and avoiding these traps. My children, recognize these traps and ask me for wisdom to avoid them. I am here to help you discern what is right, good, and wise. When you seek my guidance, I will show you a path of peace and freedom, beyond the chains of greed, debt, and impulsive choices. Seeking my guidance in financial matters. Before making financial decisions, bring your concerns to me in prayer. Let me guide you in wisdom, for my ways bring you peace. Trust in my provision, and remember that true wealth is found in a life of faith, love, and service. Overcoming the desire for material possessions. Material things may bring temporary satisfaction, but they will never fulfill the soul. My children, seek me first, and I will provide what you need. Wealth of spirit, not possessions, leads to true joy. Closing assurance. Remember, I am with you to guide and protect you from financial pitfalls. Trust in my wisdom, for I desire your freedom, peace, and spiritual wealth. With me by your side, you have all that you need. Part 4. Faith in God's provision. Explain that God the Father is the source of endless provision. He knows your every need and always cares for you. Introduction. Trusting in God's provision. My beloved children, today I remind you of the limitless provision of God the Father. He knows every need, every desire, and every fear in your heart. You are not forgotten or overlooked. God's love and provision surround you at all times. When you trust in Him, you will find peace, knowing that you are in His care. 1. God's provision for all creation. Look at the birds of the air. They do not sow, reap, or store in barns, yet your heavenly Father feeds them. Consider the flowers of the field. They do not toil or spin, yet they are clothed in splendor. If God cares so deeply for birds and flowers, how much more will He care for you, His beloved children? 2. Learning from the birds and flowers. Birds and flowers live in simplicity, fully reliant on the provision of God. They do not worry about tomorrow, nor do they accumulate resources. Their existence teaches you to live with trust and humility, knowing that God will provide for each day as it comes. 3. God knows your needs. Your heavenly Father is aware of all your needs, from the smallest to the greatest. There is nothing hidden from His sight. Even before you ask, He already knows what you need. Do not be anxious about tomorrow, for He is already there, preparing a way and providing what is necessary for you. 4. Avoiding worry and anxiety. Worrying cannot add a single moment to your life. When you let go of anxiety and place your trust in me, you find true peace. I am your shepherd, and I will guide you. Trust that I am able to provide for you, and let go of the fears that weigh you down. 5. Trusting in God's perfect timing. God's provision often arrives in His perfect timing, even if it doesn't align with your own expectations. Trust that His timing is always for your good. He knows the seasons of your life, and He knows what you need and when you need it. Trust in His wisdom, and let His timing unfold in your life. 6. Living with gratitude for daily provision. When you recognize God's daily provision, gratitude fills your heart. Each meal, each breath, each blessing is a gift from the Father. Rather than seeking excess, embrace the blessings of each day with a grateful heart. Gratitude brings joy, and joy brings peace. 7. Avoiding the trap of materialism. Material possessions can never satisfy the soul. The pursuit of wealth and possessions leads to worry and emptiness. Instead, seek first the kingdom of God, and all things will be added to you. Your Father knows what you need, and when you prioritize Him, you will find fulfillment beyond worldly riches. 8. Seeking God's kingdom first. When you seek God's kingdom first, you align your heart with His purpose. He will provide for you, not only materially but spiritually. True riches are found in faith, love, and service. Trust in God's provision, and remember that your true treasure is stored in heaven, where it cannot fade or be taken away. 9. Finding freedom through trust. Trust in God's provision frees you from the chains of worry and fear. When you live with faith, you are no longer burdened by material concerns. I desire for you to live in peace, knowing that every need will be met in my care. Closing assurance, you are in God's care, my beloved children. Remember that you are always in God's care. Trust in His provision, for He is a loving Father who sees you, knows you, and desires to provide for you. Let go of worry, live in faith, and know that God's provision is perfect, abundant, and always enough. Part 5. Changing mindset and approach to finances. Encourage you to change your perspective on money, from greed and personal possession to compassion and sharing. Introduction. Changing perspective on wealth. My beloved children, I invite you to see money and wealth differently. In this world, you are often taught to seek riches and possessions, to accumulate as much as possible. But true fulfillment is not found in what you own, but in how you live and love. Let us change the way we think about money, from a source of personal gain to a means of serving others. 1. Shifting from greed to generosity. Greed focuses on accumulating wealth for oneself, creating a mindset of scarcity and fear of losing what you have. Generosity, however, opens your heart, allowing you to see that there is always enough to share. True abundance comes when you give, not when you hoard. Example of generosity. Consider the widow who gave her last coins. Though she had little, she trusted in God's provision and gave with a loving heart. Her act of generosity was a testament of faith, showing that God values the heart, not the amount given. 2. Living a simple life. Material possessions are temporary and can lead to endless desires. When you live simply, you free yourself from the pursuit of wealth and find joy in the blessings of each day. A simple life allows you to focus on what truly matters: faith, love, and kindness. Example of simple living. Think of the lilies of the field. They do not labor or spin, yet they are clothed beautifully by God. A life focused on simplicity is a life aligned with trust in God's provision. Trust that He will provide, and live with a heart of gratitude. 3. Finding fulfillment in serving others. Wealth can be a blessing when used to serve and uplift others. Instead of seeking personal gain, ask how your resources can benefit those around you. True fulfillment is found in living for a greater purpose, in giving love and support to others. Example of serving others. Imagine a man who shares his resources to help those in need. His wealth is not measured by what he has but by how many lives he touches. He lives a life of joy and peace, knowing that his resources are being used to make a difference. 4. Letting go of attachment to wealth. Wealth is temporary and can never satisfy the soul. When you release your attachment to possessions, you open yourself to true spiritual richness. Seek the treasures of heaven, which cannot be taken away or fade, and you will find peace and joy that surpasses all understanding. 5. Practicing contentment and gratitude. Contentment brings peace, as it focuses on the blessings of the present moment. Gratitude fills your heart, freeing you from endless desire. When you are grateful for what you have, you experience the richness of life and recognize that you are always cared for. Example of contentment. Consider a person who is content with what they have. They find joy in small blessings, like family, health, and nature. Their life is rich in love and peace, not because of possessions, but because of a grateful heart. 6. Building a heart of compassion and sharing. True wealth is found in compassion and generosity. Let your heart be moved by the needs of others, and be willing to share your blessings. When you live a life of kindness and generosity, you reflect my love and bring light to the world. Closing invitation. Living for a higher purpose. My children, I invite you to live for a higher purpose, beyond the pursuit of wealth. Live simply, love deeply, and serve others. True joy and fulfillment are found in a life dedicated to love and kindness. Trust that when you give, you receive far more in return, for this is the way of my kingdom. Part 6. Managing resources wisely. Provide principles for managing finances according to God's will. Guide you to plan spending wisely and avoid unnecessary debt. Introduction. Stewardship of God's gifts. My beloved children, all that you have, your resources, talents, and opportunities, are gifts from God the Father. As faithful stewards, it is your responsibility to manage these blessings wisely, with a heart that seeks to honor God and serve others. Let us explore principles that help you manage your finances with wisdom and love. 1. Principle of spending wisely. Spend with intention, not impulsiveness. Consider the true value of each purchase and ask if it aligns with your faith and values. Avoid overspending or acquiring unnecessary items. When you spend thoughtfully, you honor God and use your resources for what truly matters. Example of wise spending. Imagine a person who chooses not to buy luxury items they don't need, instead using their money to support their family or community. This act of discipline shows a heart aligned with God's purpose. 2. Principle of saving. Saving is an act of preparation and faith. Set aside a portion of your income regularly, so you are prepared for future needs. Saving demonstrates wisdom and foresight, allowing you to provide for yourself and others without fear or anxiety. Example of saving. Consider a person who consistently saves a portion of their earnings. When unexpected expenses arise, they can meet these needs without debt or stress. This habit reflects faithfulness and responsibility. 3. Principle of avoiding unnecessary debt. Debt can weigh heavily on your spirit. Avoid borrowing beyond your means, and live within what God has provided. Choose contentment over desire, and remember that true freedom comes from living debt-free. Use credit cautiously, knowing that peace is found in simple, faithful living. Example of avoiding debt. Picture a family that chooses to live modestly within their means. They avoid taking on unnecessary debt, allowing them to live with peace and without financial strain. This lifestyle is grounded in trust and gratitude for God's provision. 4. Principle of investing with purpose. Investing can be a wise way to grow resources, but let it align with values of faith and integrity. Avoid risky schemes and focus on steady, ethical investments that benefit others and contribute to the community. Seek guidance and prayer before any major financial commitment. Example of purposeful investing. Imagine a person who invests in local businesses or ethical funds that support environmental and social good. Their investments align with their values and contribute positively to the world around them. 5. Principle of giving back. Giving is at the heart of financial stewardship. Use your resources to bless others, supporting family, community, and those in need. When you give with love and generosity, you reflect God's love, and He multiplies your blessings in ways you cannot measure. Example of giving. Consider a family who regularly donates a portion of their income to charity. Their act of generosity brings joy to others, builds community, and reflects the love of God. 6. Living with faith and gratitude. True wealth is found in a heart full of faith and gratitude. When you trust God's provision, live with contentment, and manage your finances wisely, you experience freedom and peace. Embrace simplicity, value relationships, and let love guide your financial decisions. Closing. Walking in God's wisdom. My beloved children, remember that all you have is a gift from God. Use it wisely, with faith, love, and generosity. Walk in God's wisdom, and let each decision reflect His love and grace. Trust that as you manage your resources well, He will provide abundantly for every need. Part 7. Practicing gratitude and generosity. Encourage you to practice gratitude for what you have and be willing to share with others. Introduction. The power of gratitude and generosity. My beloved children, today I call you to live a life of gratitude and generosity. Gratitude fills your heart with joy and opens you to see the richness of life. Generosity, in turn, is a natural expression of that joy, allowing you to share the blessings you've received. Together, gratitude and generosity create a life of true abundance. 1. The power of gratitude in daily life. Gratitude shifts your focus from what you lack to what you already have. When you give thanks for small blessings, your heart becomes joyful, and you begin to see abundance in everyday moments. A grateful heart is one that finds joy in the present and peace in every circumstance. Example of practicing daily gratitude. Consider a person who begins each day by thanking God for life, health, and family. Even in difficult times, they focus on these blessings, and their spirit remains uplifted. Their gratitude brings peace and joy that material wealth cannot provide. 2. Gratitude creates true happiness and fulfillment. When you practice gratitude, you cultivate a deep sense of happiness. True happiness does not come from possessions but from recognizing and appreciating the blessings around you. A grateful heart is full of joy, even in the simplest things, like a beautiful sunrise or a kind word. 3. The blessings of generosity. Generosity is the act of giving freely, without expecting anything in return. When you give, you bless others and open yourself to receive God's blessings in abundance. Giving brings joy to both the giver and the receiver, creating a ripple effect of kindness and love. Example of generosity's blessings. Imagine a family that, despite financial struggles, shares their food with a neighbor in need. Their act of generosity strengthens their community and fills their own hearts with peace and joy. Through giving, they experience a love that goes beyond material things. 4. Giving even in times of financial hardship. True generosity is not about giving from abundance but about giving from the heart, even in difficult times. When you give despite your own challenges, you show trust in God's provision. Such acts of kindness draw you closer to God and open the door to blessings beyond measure. Example of giving in hardship. Consider a widow who, despite her limited means, shares her last coins. Her act of faith and generosity reflects a heart that trusts fully in God's care. She teaches that true wealth is found in love and faith, not material abundance. 5. Finding freedom in letting go of possessions. Possessions can often create a sense of attachment and worry. When you give generously, you let go of the need to hold tightly to material things. This release brings freedom, allowing you to focus on love, relationships, and spiritual growth. 6. The joy of building a generous heart. A generous heart is filled with joy. When you make giving a regular practice, you create a life filled with kindness and compassion. Generosity brings a sense of purpose, knowing that your actions are blessing others and glorifying God. Example of a generous heart. Think of someone who regularly volunteers or donates a portion of their earnings. Their consistent giving brings joy to others and deepens their own sense of fulfillment. This practice reflects a life dedicated to serving and loving others. 7. Living in abundance through gratitude and generosity. When you live with a grateful and generous heart, you experience true abundance. You begin to see that there is always enough to share, and you live in a constant state of blessing. Trust in God's provision and know that as you give, you will always have enough. Closing invitation. Embracing a life of gratitude and generosity. My beloved children, let your lives be marked by gratitude and generosity. Give freely, love deeply, and trust in God's provision. As you live this way, you will experience a joy that cannot be measured by earthly standards and a life that reflects my love. Part 8. Seeking God's guidance through prayer. Remind you that God always hears every prayer and grants wisdom to overcome challenges. Introduction. The gift of prayer. My beloved children, prayer is a precious gift, a direct connection between your heart and God the Father. Through prayer, you open your spirit to His wisdom, guidance, and peace. I invite you to make prayer a daily practice, for it is through prayer that you draw close to me and receive the answers you seek. 1. God listens to every prayer. Know that every prayer, whether whispered in joy or cried out in pain, is heard by your Heavenly Father. He cares deeply for each of you and listens with a loving heart. There is no prayer too small or too great for Him. Bring your concerns to God, for He is always near and attentive. 2. Prayer as a source of wisdom. Through prayer, God grants you the wisdom to navigate life's challenges. When you ask for guidance, He reveals the path that aligns with His will. Seek His wisdom daily, especially in times of difficulty, for He will light your way and provide clarity. Example of receiving wisdom through prayer. Consider someone facing a financial decision. By praying and seeking God's guidance, they receive insight and peace in their choice. God's wisdom leads them to a solution that brings stability and aligns with their faith. 3. The importance of daily prayer for guidance. Prayer is not only for times of need but should be a daily practice. When you pray daily, you strengthen your connection with God and become more sensitive to His guidance. Through daily prayer, you build a foundation of peace, allowing you to face challenges with a heart rooted in faith. 4. Finding peace through prayer. In prayer, you experience a peace that surpasses understanding. When you bring your concerns to God, you exchange your worries for His comfort. This peace guides your heart and mind, helping you make wise choices in all areas of life, including finances. Example of peace from prayer. Imagine someone struggling with financial stress. Through daily prayer, they find peace and clarity, allowing them to approach their finances calmly. Prayer helps them recognize solutions and opportunities they may have overlooked in their anxiety. 5. Trusting God's timing and answers. Sometimes, answers to prayers do not come immediately, but trust that God's timing is perfect. He knows when and how to respond in ways that will bless you most. Patience in prayer allows you to grow in faith, knowing that God's answer, even if delayed, will always be for your good. 6. Prayer brings comfort in times of uncertainty. In moments of doubt or fear, prayer becomes a source of comfort and strength. By sharing your burdens with God, you experience His support and love. Prayer reminds you that you are never alone, for I am always with you, guiding and protecting you. Example of comfort through prayer. Consider someone feeling lost or overwhelmed. Through prayer, they feel God's presence, finding the strength to face challenges with hope. Prayer lifts their spirit, assuring them of God's unwavering support. 7. Guidance in financial decisions through prayer. Financial challenges require careful decisions. Pray for guidance, and God will give you the wisdom to choose wisely. He may open doors, provide resources, or give peace about a specific path. Trust that He will guide you to what is best. Example of guidance in financial prayer. Imagine someone praying about a potential investment. As they seek God's wisdom, they feel a clear sense of peace or caution, guiding their decision. This prayerful discernment helps them avoid financial pitfalls. 8. Building a life rooted in prayer and faith. Let prayer be the foundation of your life. A heart rooted in prayer is one that remains steadfast in all circumstances, trusting in God's guidance and provision. Through daily prayer, you develop a deeper relationship with God, building faith that sustains you through any trial. Closing invitation. Seek me in prayer daily. My beloved children, seek me in prayer each day. Bring your fears, hopes, and needs to me, and I will provide guidance, peace, and strength. As you commit to a life of prayer, you will find wisdom and assurance, knowing that I am with you always. Part 9. Living with purpose and serving others. Remind you that life's purpose is not about accumulating wealth but about loving and serving others. Introduction. Purpose beyond wealth. My beloved children, the purpose of life goes far beyond accumulating wealth or material possessions. True fulfillment comes from living with love, compassion, and a desire to serve others. Let us explore how a life dedicated to helping others brings joy and meaning that riches alone can never provide. 1. The true purpose of life. Life's true purpose lies not in what you own, but in how you love and serve. You were created to reflect God's love, to be His hands and feet on earth. By focusing on others rather than possessions, you fulfill the purpose for which you were created. 2. Serving others as a reflection of God's love. When you serve others, you are showing them the love of God. Every act of kindness, every sacrifice, reflects my love for all of you. Serving is not just a duty, it is a privilege and a powerful way to bring light into the world. Example of a life of service. Consider the Good Samaritan, who helped a stranger in need without expecting anything in return. His kindness and compassion are remembered because he chose to serve rather than ignore. This example shows that a life of purpose is one that lifts others and brings healing. 3. Using wealth to bless others. Wealth is a tool that can be used to bless and uplift others. When you share your resources, you create a positive impact on lives around you. True wealth is found not in possessions, but in the generosity and love with which you use them. Example of using wealth for good. Think of a business owner who uses profits to support local charities, build schools, or provide for the needy. Their wealth is multiplied in blessings because it is used to make a difference. This life of purpose brings lasting joy, far beyond personal gain. 4. Finding fulfillment through service. True fulfillment comes from serving others. When you give of your time, resources, and love, you find a joy that material possessions cannot provide. Serving others enriches your spirit and brings meaning to your life. Example of joy and service. Consider a volunteer who dedicates time to help the elderly or support children in need. Their joy does not come from financial gain but from the smiles and gratitude of those they serve. This joy is a gift from God, rewarding a life lived with purpose. 5. Embracing a simple life focused on love and service. A simple life focused on love and service is one of great richness. By letting go of the pursuit of material wealth, you create space for relationships, community, and faith to flourish. This is a life that honors God and brings joy that wealth alone cannot give. Example of a life of simplicity and service. Imagine a person who lives modestly, giving freely to those in need and focusing on building relationships. Their wealth is not measured in money but in love and connections. They lead a life full of purpose, with peace and joy that material wealth cannot buy. 6. The eternal value of a life of purpose. A life lived with purpose leaves a legacy that outlasts material wealth. When you live to serve others, you leave a lasting impact on their lives and draw closer to God. This eternal value is a reflection of God's love and His calling for each of you. Closing invitation. Live a life of purpose and service. My beloved children, I call you to live with purpose, dedicating your life to love, compassion, and service. True fulfillment is found not in wealth, but in the love you share and the lives you touch. Follow this path, and you will experience a joy that reflects God's eternal love. Part 10. Hope and faith in the future with God, and with encouragement to trust in a bright future when you place faith in God. Introduction. A future of hope with God. My beloved children, know that your future is secure when you place your trust in God. He has promised a life of abundance and peace, a future filled with hope. No matter the challenges you face, remember that God's plans for you are good, filled with His love and faithfulness. 1. God's promise of abundant life. God the Father has promised to give you life, and life in abundance. This abundance is not only material wealth but the richness of peace, love, and joy that come from a life rooted in Him. When you trust in God, you live with a heart full of hope, knowing He is guiding you toward a fulfilling future. 2. Trusting in God's faithfulness. God's promises are true, and He is faithful to fulfill them. Even when circumstances seem uncertain, know that God's faithfulness endures. Trusting in His promises gives you strength to move forward, assured that He will provide for every need and guide you through every trial. Example of trust in God's faithfulness. Consider Abraham, who trusted God's promise of a future filled with blessings, even when he could not see how it would come to pass. His faith became a testimony of God's unfailing promises. In the same way, your trust in God will lead to blessings beyond what you can imagine. 3. Living with hope in God's plans. Hope in God's plans brings peace and strength. When you know that God is in control, you can face tomorrow without fear. Even when life is challenging, remember that God's plans are to prosper you and not to harm you. Embrace each day with hope, for He is leading you toward a purpose-filled future. Example of hope in adversity. Imagine a person who holds on to hope even in difficult times, knowing that God is guiding their steps. This hope gives them peace and courage to continue, trusting that God's plan is for their ultimate good. 4. Remaining steadfast in faith. Steadfast faith is a source of strength. It allows you to stand firm, even when the future seems uncertain. Keep your eyes on God and His promises, for He will not fail you. As you walk in faith, you will find peace, knowing that He is always with you, guiding and protecting you. 5. Experiencing God's peace in your heart. God's peace is a gift that fills your heart, even amidst challenges. This peace is a sign of His presence and His promise that He is with you always. When you rely on God's peace, you are empowered to face any challenge with a calm and hopeful heart. Example of God's peace in difficult times. Consider someone who faces illness or financial hardship with a heart full of peace, trusting that God is in control. Their peace is a testament to their faith and inspires others to trust in God's care. 6. Encouraging each other in faith and hope. Encourage each other to stay strong in faith and to trust in God's promises. By supporting each other, you grow stronger together, building a community rooted in love and hope. Share your testimonies of God's faithfulness to uplift and inspire one another. 7. Trusting in a bright future with God. Your future is bright because God holds it in His hands. Trust that He will lead you through every valley and mountain, guiding you to a place of peace and abundance. His plans are for your good, to give you hope and a purpose-filled life. Example of trusting in a bright future. Imagine a young person who dreams of a bright future, trusting that God will open doors and guide their steps. Their faith in God's plan fills them with excitement and courage to pursue their calling. Closing encouragement. Live in hope and faith. My beloved children, live with a heart full of hope and faith. Trust in God's promises, for He is faithful to fulfill them. Keep your eyes on Him, and you will experience a future of peace, abundance, and joy. As you walk in faith, know that God is with you, leading you every step of the way.